welcome to God's a Feminist. This is Anna. So today I'm super excited because we're making a video about the vagina. I grew up in a stuffy church that didn't like to talk about sex, and that's a sin. Today we're going to talk about the vagina, and I printed out this very cool, very non-pornographic diagram so you guys don't freak out, okay? But here it is. And I love it because it shows the inside of the vagina and also the outside of the vagina. And then, of course, the rest of the reproductive system. The very tip is the clitoris. It's kind of like a little knob. It is a pleasure center. It's also where your urine comes out of, or maybe it's not the same. The urine comes out through like a hole that is next to the clitoris, but it's not the clitoris itself. And then there's two lips on the outside of the vagina to protect the vagina, and then inside of the vagina is actually, there's space between the clitoris and the vagina. The vagina is at the bottom, and there's a space there, but those spaces also pleasure center, so you can also stimulate that. And then you go inside the vagina, and then there's big valley. And what I want to say in this video, because everyone needs to know this, is that every single gland in this whole valley, this whole vaginal canal, is capable of reaching orgasm. Every single gland, every single spot inside of the vagina is a potential G-spot. And they can be released at the same time, which is why women can have multiple orgasms, but I grew up hearing that only the outside of the vagina experiences pleasure, and that is not true. The reason I'm super stoked to talk about the vagina right now is because women, in order to love themselves as God has mandated us to love ourselves, need to love ourselves and need to love and know our own bodies. And so if we're going to do that, this kind of discussion and this kind of topical community, which is what we're building here, which is very exciting, is something that we need to do. I'm going to share a story about how I got to know my own vagina, and it's a little bit awkward, but it's a good story. And first I want to say that masturbation is not a sin in and of itself. As a woman, it's super easy to masturbate without lusting because you can actually think about nothing and reach climax. Like, you can actually just think about nothing. You can actually just feel, and you can physically emote and reach climax. You don't have to think about anything. When I was the ripe old age of almost 22, actually, almost 22, was when I decided that I was gonna explore my own body. And that's old, But for me, I think it was a good age because I was an adult and I knew why I wanted to explore my own body. The reason why I wanted to explore my own body was because I knew that a man would not be able to do better if I did not know myself. And so I really wanted to educate myself on how my body worked, and I really wanted to understand myself sexually. First time I tried was very shocking, and was just like, huh. So I really had to sit with myself, and I really had to say and decide, like, Anna, are you gonna make this decision right now? Because you didn't like that first experience. It was just really shocking and scary, honestly. And I had to make that decision to sit with myself and say, Anna, are you gonna make this decision right now to invest in enjoying sex throughout the rest of your life? And there are so many women who don't make that decision. It took me about a week, but I figured it out. My first orgasm was about a week after I started kind of messing around and trying to figure out what was happening. And it was very nice. It was very simple, very kind of anticlimactic, actually, because you think of orgasms as being like these very mind-blowing things, and I've had those, but the first one was just like, oh, this is what it is. You know, it was nice. And I thought about my sort of childhood friend. We are the same age. It's not creepy, but we had been friends for a very long time, and it was very nice. It was very sweet, and I think it's really important to know that exploring your own body is a very sweet process. And I also want to say that it's really important to encourage women to know their own bodies, and to recognize that female sexuality is different from male sexuality. And that if a woman does not explore their own body, then that is straight up just a recipe for rape in the future. Because if you don't know your own body, then no one else will. And they'll do things to your body that you don't want them to. As a church, we can't be afraid of female sexuality. As a church, we can't be afraid because the Bible isn't afraid of female sexuality. Song of Solomon is written a majority from the female's perspective. It's really important for women to love and celebrate and enjoy sex. Enjoy the physical act of sex. Because I heard John Piper, who is, in my mind, a rapist, telling this man whose woman did not enjoy having sex that she should try and enjoy it in non-sexual ways. And that is rape. So know your own body, know what turns you on, know how long it takes to turn you on, know how long it takes you to orgasm. Discuss these things with your partner beforehand. Before you get married, you should talk about these things with your partner. They should know how often you want to have sex, how long does it take you to have sex, how long do you expect them to do certain things to you in order for you to achieve orgasm. These things are really important to discuss before you're married. And my advice would be, if you're not comfortable exploring masturbation on your own, talk to other women, but also maybe you're very conservative and you feel like you need to be, married to explore your own body. I disagree with that, but I think that a good compromise would be waiting until you're engaged. And if you're engaged, then you explore your own body, and then you share with your fiance what your findings are, and he should be completely open and willing and happy to discuss those things with you. And also ask him questions. What does he like? How long does it take him? You don't want to be disappointed if this guy sort of comes in less than a minute, because that's disappointing. Definitely have clear, real expectations for your sexual life in marriage. There's nothing that shouldn't be discussed before you enter such a binding covenant with somebody. This is for your safety. This is for your protection. This is for the love that God has for you, and the love that I have for you, and the love that God has for women. And we need to recognize that. Bye. See you next time.